wasn't necessarily planning on anything. I just I wanted to play. Felt willing enough to do that at least. So thankfully, and then so I just figured I'd at least play for you guys since that was asked about already. So. Let's see. I mean, I'm just messing around here, so it's not like I'm trying to necessarily play anything.
Play to a metronome.
I can't get this. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to just go up or down. I'm like sliding the hi hat. It's really just the fact that the bounce is throwing me off. 'Cause it feels right. Yeah. That actually is a little bit better. A little bit. Yeah, like I'm not too shy about hitting the bass pedal now. Like it's not. I love the use of the bass pedal. It's like talk about something I spent time, you know. So like it's just annoying. Like it's. You know, obviously, I hit it with a bit of force. So I like it. I'm overcompensating. Not gonna pull it down. Mostly Zildjian. I don't have anything against any really other cymbals. They're all good for their own reasons. I would personally use Zildjian. However, that's Alchemy. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any other name. That's an Alchemy symbol. So this little China symbol you're hearing, is a little China symbol. It's actually a splash. But it sounds like a little China symbol. But it's splash. But yeah, that's an Alchemy symbol. My hi-hat's a Zildjian though. It's a ZXT. This is the it says I switched this. This is the bottom. That's funny. So I did break the top. I didn't realize that. I actually did break the top and switched them. That's the ZXT Zildjian. With the and you can really see the the little indents. But that's the ZXT Zildjian. I broke it. Where is it? There is it. There it is. Do you see it? Not even that long after I got it. But these are really old. all these other ones. Like this one's broken. These are really old, but they're for the most part I think they're Zildjian. Pearl kit, Pearl export. Originally Pearl export 5-piece, and then I just started using Remo heads. But there's nothing wrong with Pearl heads. You prefer the Zildjian sound yourself too? Yeah, exactly. It's just more about sound. Just like with Pearl, like there's nothing wrong with the Pearl heads. It's just a certain sound. Like I think people might even be inclined to use different heads for different things, like miking versus live, stuff like that. So, yeah, obviously this is just a cowbell, and this is just a plastic block. So that's obviously when you want your side snare drum hit, it's not loud enough because you got cymbals and distorted guitar and stuff like that. So you got that plastic block sort of simulates that, like instead of so yeah, it's similar. You can get that out of it. You can find it. I don't know. I just said it here, but if you want to hit a different spot too, I mean, who cares, right? It's a sound. So, people care about tuning and stuff with drums too, and it's like, well, yeah, for miking, I would understand that if you're actually, just if I'm just playing around and stuff, it's the sort of thing where it's like, who cares? It's just percussion, But, obviously, I'm not going to have them all different. Obviously, I still want, the snare's not going to hit right or sound right if it's not tuned up, obviously, you still want the doon-doon-doo, obviously, you still want to go down the scale. The bass drum's got to be the bass drum, obviously. But, it's really, honestly, a lot of the tuning, too, that people do is actually some people do the bottom drums too. So you want to realize you notice the sound. So this one I didn't replace this top head yet. That's why. So that's why that one sounds a lot better. But yeah. We need more cowbell. Really, really explore the space. Yeah, I should do that. I should Will Ferrell it. Is Christopher Walken gonna come out and tell me to do it? If Christopher Walken comes out and tells me to do it, I will really, really explore the space with that cowbell. I used to have this thing that I would do, but it was definitely, it's definitely a pretty, it requires all of the coordination. But, see if I can remember to find out. This is something I would play when I was practicing and stuff. You gotta really. To think that I used to do that so effortlessly. I mean, it just takes practice, man. But I would have to practice that again. That was all out of time. Yeah, I never knew that. So you did. Hey, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, obviously, obviously you have that bottom head. Believe it or not, some people will actually, for a certain sound, they'll actually go with no bottom head. It's not a sound I prefer. I definitely want to hear, the drum a little bit better. So obviously the drum's going to ring better. But if you like that, yeah, that is really going to be booming every time. Like, that is just going to go right out of there. So, for sure, but you better know what you're doing with tuning, is all I have to say. Because the problem with doing that is, and I've done it before, I've experimented with it. You can do it. The problem is your drum's going to be out of tune pretty quick. So, like, especially if tuning matters to you, just as you saw here, I had to tune this, I didn't even realize. So even just not, like if I don't have a chance to play or something, even it just sits here, it should have fallen out. It's just like a guitar, it's under a certain amount of stress. So just over time, it's gonna relieve some of that stress just through natural friction, obviously, but lack thereof, I should say. But you get what I'm saying. Obviously, it's everything. It's environment, stuff like that. How long it takes. I don't. For example, I don't have for my floor tom. I actually usually don't do a drum head. So actually, this one doesn't. Now, I actually think that I may get a drum head for this because I'm not liking that. Because of my acoustics and my surrounding, that's why that sounds boom, it doesn't. It's because of where I am. So if I had noise dampeners, that would be fine. But it's not like I don't need to. A drum head would be sufficient to do that. And the point is that that's going to sound a lot more like a drum with another head on there. You can actually hear it. It's going to hit the other drum head, basically. The sound, when you hit this, is going to hit the other drum head, so. Yeah, play anything right now. The sort of thing about, like, playing songs and stuff, actually, some of what I'm doing is actually, like, more complicated than some songs even get. But, like, the part of the issue is just, I'm just playing. Like, if I have to stick to a song, it's more like doing it to the song. It's it's sort of like, like, you can sit down and play a guitar riff, too, and it sounds like it might be the song, but a lot of times you'd be surprised. I would love for somebody, maybe Drumeo can do this for me. Something I was working on for the longest time, and I still have yet to see a drummer actually. Now, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. Because I think that some of them can do it. I just think that they might be altering it because it was that drummer's thing. But some of the, alright, so like obviously it's mainly recording quality. It's mainly now the song I'm talking about is Crazy Train, and it's not the dun 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 really make. You don't have to, like that one. That's the part, like dun 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 dun. Like I mean, come on, who doesn't know how to do that? But people, like again, as long as you're not playing the original, people do that stuff all the time. So like there's artists and stuff all over YouTube and stuff like that. So like it really, a lot of it has to do with, just how you're going about doing it, and stuff like that. So but I don't necessarily plan. I've actually played a couple of Ozzy before for you guys. I played a couple of songs on the drums, but obviously I think what you're talking about is playing the music. And obviously I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I've sat here and played my perception of sort of what draw attention to it, then obviously, then it becomes a thing. So, in that song, there's a part, and again, like I said, this is like way back, so like it's mainly recording quality that like we struggle with this stuff. But as far as Crazy Train is concerned, and it might not even be that difficult. It's just because of the way he does it, the way it sounds. It's like, wait, what the heck's he doing there? How does he even get from there to there? It's more like that. In the Air Tonight, oh, that one's actually pretty easy. It's just that, isn't he left-handed? And he's singing while he does it. This is not a difficult drum part. That's legendary because he's singing while he does it. But no, it's the part. I always wonder how he gets there. And again, I've done it my own way. I know that things are going wrong for me. That little thing he does there on the he does it a few times during that breakdown. Nobody does it exactly like the album, and there's a reason for that. Because it's a really weird rhythm. He probably loves that, Phenomenal drummer that plays very, very strange rhythms that very, very expertly. So he could probably just tell me, but I think it's just like a hi-hat hitter that I'm missing or something where he's doing something else and then going straight to there that I'm not thinking of. I just watched Phil do it live. I could never. I think it's just do-do. I think it's literally just what we just talked about. I could watch it
It's not a difficult fill. Again, that drum fill was legendary because it was so out of nowhere, and it really lifted the song. Like, at the time, those drums were like everywhere. That was like the new thing. Everyone was so obsessed with the sound. It was in Michael Jackson songs. It was in every 80s song. I mean, like, you heard it in all those, like, theme songs for the movies. You heard it in the background of the movie when the guys, like, sneak. You know, like, Phil Collins is an absolutely epic drummer to the point that who the hell can sing and drum at the same time? This is so legendary, the fact that he can do this. And he's a good drummer, too. Like, he's just good. So no, like, the fill itself isn't the difficult part. The difficult part is the fact that he's a singer. and like, just where he chose to put that in the song, the meaning of it. And yeah, like, the whole point is up to that point, it's real light. It's real light. It's real light. And all of a sudden, I can feel calm in the air tonight. It's literally just fundamentally, that's all it is. It's literally just that. And then usually the last one's going to be up to the interpreter because left hand, right hand player. I think he's left-handed, right? No, he's not. Is he? I have to think now. I don't remember. But you know, if you got to come all the way back, maybe you don't do that. You know, like, it's the sort of thing where you just might change how you do it. That's all. Done that before too. You know, like electric kits and stuff. I think he's used variations too. Some electric, some acoustic. I know he mainly plays acoustic though. Like, he does play a mean acoustic set. So, yeah. So. So that'd be sort of like the reason why it actually sounds like that to do, like, you could, but it wouldn't have the same. And the two hit where it sounds, well, they're hitting basically the same time, but you're hitting one slightly before the other for that nice. So, like, that's just something a drummer needs to do. And so, if these sound too separated, it'll sound like two hits. So you want to, they are basically the same time. So, what he's doing there is I think he's splitting up the toms. And he's got a huge, these two, and then the two floor toms. That's how I would do it. But again, like, not particularly difficult. It's just, you know, the epic thing is that you know, he sings. And what's more epic is when he does it live, and he sort of sits down at the set and just starts playing. I think that's cool. Aside from how you set up the kit, how does left? Oh, well, yeah, that's a good point. So on drums, you're gonna everything if you're that's actually a really good point. you're gonna have, so my hi-hat's over here because I'm set up for right-handed, okay? Now this looks really reversed for you guys. You see this backwards, it's reversed. But this is set up for me right-handed, so as I move down the kit, I have this set up, so now my right hand can do the ride, but the point is that on drums, left and right hand, you're going to cross. And the reason for that, again, is because you're going to, if you're not doing it that way, it's the sort of thing where, like, you know, where are you going to put it? You know what I mean? Like, you can't put it here. It's going to, you know what I'm saying? So when you're left-handed, everything is just, you get what I'm saying? So, you know, it is going to be a little bit different, but yeah, like, I guess just like guitar, because they make left-handed guitars, don't they? So, you know, I don't really know much beyond that. I just know, again, there's traditional too, where you'll see some people hold the drumstick like this, and they'll play like this. That's really old school. Was it jazz? And then the sometimes use them, I think, on the snare. But full traditional, you'll see a studio drummer. Man, who was it? All the way up until one of those people that hosts one of those later shows. They have one hell of a studio drummer. What was the guy with the black hair and the glasses? He's really good. Man, I feel bad. I forget his name. He would play full traditional like this, and I'm like, what do you got? Some chopsticks, dude? Like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, the dude can actually play like, I think that's so cool. Anybody that can play like that, you can fucking play, man. I can't do that. Us metal drummers, we gotta play like this. We gotta hit hard, man. Now, again, that's just how we learn. You know, at a certain point, you're gonna clean that up and you're gonna fix it. But now you're not gonna switch to this all of a sudden. You're still gonna hit like this. But yeah, that was the traditional, I guess, original way. I don't know that it was really necessarily original. You're always gonna hit percussion like this. But, elegant. Wait, but you get what I'm saying. Bonham used tree branches as sticks. What's your preferred weight? Yeah, for sure. I'm not even sure about weight. I used to use gigantic ones, but now I use the Fick Firth American Classic, the 5BN. So I used to use the ones that were just called Rockin', and that was I realized that was why I was losing a lot of my sticks. I had a problem for the longest time where I would do this thing where you guys saw I can do this. And as soon as I would like start really picking up the pace and start moving, every once in a while my bounce would be such that the drumstick itself is just, it got enough momentum from itself, it just sort of kind of goes flying out of my hand. Now, again, it's because the width just wasn't right for me, I think. And truthfully, I may have been able to deal with that if I had gloves, but I never played with gloves. I probably should have. I tried to get gloves recently, and even the largest possible gloves that I could get, I swear they said extra large. They must be designed for kids or something. Like, I literally can't even wear them. Like, they don't fit. I can't close my hand at all. I'm like, how am I supposed to drum with this? It's gonna rip. So, yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna do that again. So, like, it's just the sort, like, I don't know who's designing these things, but they're not for large people. And, I mean, it's not like it's everybody, but it's not uncommon, that's for damn sure, you know? So, yeah, I mean, that's, to tell you a little about it, that's the, those are the sticks that I use. Nylon tip, right? That's nylon. Is that the correct term for that material? I just call them plastic tip. I'm not really sure what it is, but plastic tip. The reason for that is sound. That's all sound. I prefer the plastic tip sound. And that actually, it's less on here, more so on percussion. So yes, it does matter on the heads, and the bounce is a little bit different, but it's mainly, I actually like the way it sounds when I tap my cymbal versus the wooden. I personally just, it's a little bit different and I like it. I like it for this. I like it for that. It's not as overwhelming. It doesn't widen it. It keeps it where it should be. Because cymbals do that enough. Cymbals do that enough. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. I suppose I could test that, but pretty good with that stuff. Doing stuff by ear. So, I mean, that's just how it's always felt, though. I just always felt like anytime I ever tap that, yeah, there's a definitive, like, difference between that and my wooden tipped drumstick. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm not really sure how he does it, but if I was doing that roll that you were describing, that fill, again, it's just the last two hits, he's doing the. I think there's a double bass hit. If there's not, I'd probably still add it because it just sounds better. It'll be more like a roll. So he may not, but it's a nice little flair for you. I would personally throw it in. Yeah. So again, I don't. He may be doing it just together, and if that's remember, a lot of times that sounds cool, you know. So just remember that the separated, I really wish I remembered the term for that shit, but the separated hits sounds really cool. Don't ever underestimate a chitadoom. A lot of things can be used with this. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And it you know, like it's stuff like that guitarists like to hear. If I have a recommendation, like as far as like drums, like getting started, don't be afraid to just sit down and play. Nobody, you know, a lot of people, you know, they really just don't have coordination with this. So really, don't be afraid to just get down and play. You don't sound bad. You know, everybody starts somewhere, and you know, it's the sort of thing where you want to do what I did in the beginning, where I wasn't quite understanding why my foot was at a time. Now, obviously, I figured that out. It was something with the pedal, but I thought it was me, so I separated. I was like, is that me? And I literally started just doing. You know what I'm saying? So that way I knew I could still keep my time. Now, if you saw, I was having trouble with that at first. I had to warm up a little bit. But then I got into it. And that's something a drummer shouldn't struggle with. So, obviously I need to play and practice. And so that's kind of the point. That's a really good point at which you should start. If keeping time is where yeah, I can still clearly do a roll, but if I can't keep time, I'm in trouble, man. So, like that's where you start. You don't go past that point. Figure that out, fix it, then move on. Because if you're doing all this shit, but you're not keeping time, you're never gonna. You gotta learn how to keep time. Now, I'm not saying don't practice the complicated stuff and don't try to have a little bit of fun. But keeping time is very, very easy to do. So, like, again, keep it simple. You should be able to... You should be able to do that. And then you can add to it. You can start adding your second hand. Okay. Now I know I always do this, and then you see my chewed up stick. This is for the beginners out there. You don't have to hit on the edge of the stick. I just prefer that. I know you probably see me do that. It's a different sound. You can turn your hand up. Okay, so all you want to do is lift your elbow a little bit, not way up here. Just lift your elbow enough, and then you're going to tilt your wrist down slightly. And then again, eventually you start doing this. You'll see the pro drummers, they start doing that too. Don't try to do that yet. Just focus on doing that, okay? I wouldn't do that. You're gonna get gigantic calluses right here. That's normal. It hurts. It burns. Get through it. It's normal. And then obviously again, you go on from there. So then after this. Okay? And then it's... Or, if you struggle with that... So, yeah, right. So, it's the sort of thing where you're going to get bored with doing that. Eventually, it's going to be pretty easy. So, that's okay. That's pretty normal, okay? Just like no guitarist is going to pick up the guitar and as much as I love the song Black Sabbath about, it's just literally like... Down, you can obviously do the finger tap, but, so easy. or like Iron Man. So like the point is, nobody wants to do that forever. Like obviously, people want to go on to Paranoid, and they want to go on to Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and they want to go on to War Pigs, and all that. Fairies or Boots. They don't want to stay on Iron Man and Black Sabbath forever. And it's cool to go back to them, but it's like that's the point. You don't want to. You want to move on, and that's okay. I gotta figure out what it is about this snare drum I'm not liking. I don't know if it's that I feel like it's too low, but if I put it up higher, it's too high. You get what I'm saying? That's annoying. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm like hitting my clothes. We're gonna get this sit like way back here. Yes, perhaps. I'm just try not to adjust. Woof. That's alright. That's not terrible. Oh man. I used to play all kinds of shit. I play Thunder Underground a little bit. Played some Thunder. I used to play Perry Mason, but I don't. That's pretty tough, man. I'd have to practice that. It's something like, well, it starts off. You know, like obviously it's just. My fault. I forgot I put it here. And then it's. That sucks, to be clear. But it's something kind of like that. I could do hand tapping better. But yeah, it's something like that. It's that. It's basically that. It's sorry, I just so out of practice. I'd have to sit there and practice it again. On his way to dinner, when it took him by surprise, and with one pull of the trigger, vanish overnight, dancing by the roadside. It's do do. And then it's lots of cymbals. I'll bet there's a shitload of cymbals in that song. Because it's for every it's just cymbal after cymbal. And then it's I don't mind. Something like that. So good. Feeling fine. Something like that. I'll see you, my friend. Someone to place. Well, and then it's more cymbals. Tell me it's alright. Just keep on talking back. And then it's something like that. Just how I got good at that. And that's tell me you. And that's something like that. And that's So that's sort of very nice. I mean, really, really cool, like, fills and stuff. I mean, you guys know Osmosis is always my favorite. But, I liked Tomorrow, Old LA Tonight, Thunder to Ground. I mean, Perry Mason for sure. But those are probably my favorite songs on there. And obviously, my favorite Ozzy song ever being My Jackal Doesn't Hide. I don't even know how that one. I used to play that. It's something like. That has a tough. I have to listen to it again. That's not right. It has a really hard rhythm, and that was partially why I really liked it. It was such a cool, but like steady pace. Like it's just one of those weird rhythmic paces that was really interesting. My Jackal Doesn't Hide. By the way, one of Zach's most just incredibly good guitar work on like the whole album, but you really want to hear Zach go to town and his guitar work. Seriously, My Jackal Doesn't Hide, that guitar solo blew me like that is unbelievable. I just, it was so good the way that, you know, and it's very, you know, it still sounds like him without just being his, you know, like, you know, man, he just nailed that album. All the guitar work. Again, Tomorrow was phenomenal. But yeah, My Jackal Doesn't Hide. That was a lot of the reason it was my favorite. Is just that guitar solo was so fucking awesome. But obviously, it was a really cool song too. But yeah, the riff is so cool. He literally he somehow does a chunky riff, but does it with pinch harmonics. Leave it to Zach, right? That's literally what he does. It's a chunky riff, but done with pinch harmonics. It's that fucking... Not the do 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 do. No. The do 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 woo do woo do woo do woo do 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 woo do woo do woo. I can't even do it. It sounds so fucking cool. You need to go listen to it. Dementia, subversion ideas. Such a good fucking song. And then, I used to play Mr. Crowley. But I mean, like, that's not particularly difficult on drums. Lots of cymbals again. It's something like, it just says, Mr. Crowley. Something like, no, hold on. Nah, I'd have to listen to Your Lifestyle to Me Seems So Tragic, and the painting full of people with magic. And then it's Mr. Take you work. Uncovering things that were sacred. Something like that, right? Is that the right lyric? Manifest on earth. What? Obviously, like the legendary solo for that too. It was amazing. But yeah, obviously it's a little hard to beat Zach's No More Tears solo. It's pretty iconic. If you want to hear one that's almost just about as iconic, if not more iconic, just go listen to the Farewell Ballad. You've probably never heard it. It was just a standalone one that he did. Really good though. And then, so there's that. That's a really good one. As far as, oh yeah, I played I Don't Know. That was another one that I typically played. I don't know. And then, like I said, I played at the mic board line. So when it got to that part, I don't know. I have a double bass pedal, so I did it that way. I obviously, I always practiced. So one thing that people seem to forget about is people forget about Wipeout. You know, like the Beach Boys. They actually forget about that one. And that one can be pretty tough. But what I discovered is, do you remember when I was like tapping on the, I don't know if you guys remember when I was like tapping and I was doing that? What I discovered is I was trying to do it faster than the original tempo, and that's why I wasn't doing it. Now, eventually I did do it, if you remember, but I was only able to do it like once like that. It's because I was trying to speed it up. I have a habit of doing that, because I'm sure you guys notice, I typically play faster as I speed up. So like that's my point to you guys. Slow it down. Get good at the get good at the other stuff. Yeah, literally, I spent so much time just flying around the set. I think is it just one drum? I don't know. Is it? I think he switches. Boys. It's hard not to laugh. You gotta love the Beach Boys. You gotta love it. They were just funny, that's all. That is tough to do, I'll admit. Because it's just one drum, you gotta do it right. Yeah. That was terrible. It's terrible. It's... It's that. I still may be speeding it up there, but here. That's about, I did a mess up close to the end, but that's about right. It's because it does even out. So it's actually because, here, I'll try to do the guitar parts. Hold on, it's dent, 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 dent. Fuck, I screwed up. Dent, dent, dent. Do 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 do. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, wipe out. That's how it starts off. There's like a crashing wave, right? Like you hear like water, like a crashing wave, and he goes, "Oh, wipe out!" You know, like he wiped out on the surfboard or something. Is that the Hawaii Five? I didn't remember that the Hawaii 5-0 theme was Wipeout. Was it really? That's funny. I didn't even realize that. The new one or the old one? Wouldn't surprise me either. Yeah, but it's... It is. It is. I'm gonna work I'm gonna practice that particular. Pretty much the same drum beat. Yeah, I mean, like that's like it's just the same. Pretty much, it's just the same sort of. But that's what's cool about it. How long have you been playing? Dang, you're better than me. Thanks. I mean, like I've been playing a really long time. But I also stopped. I mean, like. So, like, I mean, there's plenty of years where I haven't played. Martial arts is not something I really stopped doing. I do that to practice still, but yeah, drums I've definitely, I mean, so yeah, like, I can pick it up and play here and there. I mean, I played probably, yeah, that's about right. I played about 5 years total if you would add it all up. I played mostly in it was like right as I was getting out of high school. And then I got this. This was a gift. I got this. And so obviously I played the crap out of this for years. Then came back to it, played again for another probably year, came back to it, probably again the same sort of type of things, you know, on and off a little bit here. So yeah, that's probably about right. Mainly self-taught, but you know, obviously I've been around drummers before and been able to ask really good drummers for tips and been able to watch people too. So that's something that I can do, and I typically pick up a lot from that. So that's actually some of my learning, but mainly my big hold up with me is that I like metal and I don't have a double pedal, but you don't need that. You really don't. Some people actually just don't have one, and they even play metal. So that's okay. But you probably do, like if you're getting into music now, you probably do want to still be able to do that. You know, it's just the sort of thing where if you're a guitarist, you want to play 7-string too, or double neck, that sort of thing. You just want to be able to do it, so you can do it. Not gaining more muscle as a drummer is actually a good thing. It helps with reflexes. So yeah, that's the mistake people make about martial arts. When you get too big, it slows you down. You were right about that. Agility. No, you're right. It's dexterity and agility versus strength. Build sort of thing. And they can be flexible, but it still doesn't work the same way. And much like what you're talking about, muscles, weight, and weight slows you down. Exactly. So there's still that. So that's true. However, when you get really good, one thing that people take for granted is don't look at me. You know, I am very amateur compared to a pro. I sound not half bad, but I am terrible with technique. I am terrible. Some of these drummers that you'll watch them and it's like, how the hell is he that good? These guys, they spend all day doing this. gonna lose it. I can't do it. So, like, the point is, it is practice and it's annoying, obviously. You want to do the fun stuff. That was the whole Yeah, I remember the days in martial arts of when I got good at kicks and I still had to just front kick. Why do I have to do this? So easy. Well, obviously, I get that now. So this is the translation to drums. The idea is that regardless of how big you are, at a certain point, your hits. I'm going to do the best that I can to duplicate this, but the point is, you. See, I can't play like that, but watch the guy from Jimmy Eat World. He's the perfect example. Or even well, Trey Cole is good too, but he's not a good example for somebody that just looks really relaxed. He's sort of animated, but he does it on purpose. Chad Zaliga. I've always loved Chad Zaliga. He's actually he's really relaxed when he plays. And he's a guy that's really good with percussion. And, play with Breaking Benjamin, Black Label Society. Phenomenal drummer. And that guy, he is a guy that, whew. Yeah, he could do that all day. Sort of kind of guy. Just very relaxed. But that was what I liked about Randy Castillo. My favorite drummer of all time. And again, the whole point is that the point I was making, before I get into that, the point I was making is, it doesn't matter, as you get to a certain point, you learn how to relax. So that big bulk, it don't really matter, because you're not, it doesn't feel like that, because you're only going from here to here, and from here to here. You're not sort of kind of doing this and being animated about it. You're doing necessary line. And it's similar with martial arts. People make that mistake with martial arts too. But anyway, what I was going to say is that was a lot of the reason Randy Castillo was my favorite drummer, was because he just had this way of being so relaxed. I think anybody that thinks that they've heard the fastest drummer, the most technical drummer, or something like that, I think you need to go listen to the 1990s concert Ozzy did. It was the original No More Tours tour, which was the No More Tears tour originally. And it was still Zach. It was Zach Wild. I think that was Mike Inez on bass, but that was Randy Castillo on drums, and he did a drum solo for that concert. The concert's called Live and Loud, and the drum solo will blow your mind. It is unlike anything it's incredible. I was like, okay, it's him. There's no question. It just blew me away, and he was already doing that. Just his uncanny ability to be this rock solid rhythm, but have this sort of dance water to it, fluidity to his movement. I can't even explain it. The guy was just a miracle at relaxing when he played. And all you'd have to do is watch his hands. He would just start doing the snare drum, and he would speed up. And I'd watch his hands, and his hands didn't look like they were getting any faster. And his sticks would just start going like this. And I'm like, holy, how is he even doing that? And he's just like, And he's got like this wraparound set. He's got all this shit up top, all these symbols. I'm like, damn, I love this guy. So Randy Castillo for sure. And I highly recommend watching it if you know like you want a good drummer to look at that everybody's not obsessed with. I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with Alex Van Halen, Neil Peart, John Bonham. There is nothing wrong with these guys. They're all phenomenal. I would personally put Bill Ward up there too. They're all phenomenal. But Randy Castillo, he just had this way of playing that I can't even describe. And it's very much like when you see Zach. Do you guys know, like you know what I'm talking about? Like with Zach Wilde, when you hear him play versus when you see him play. Like, you hear him play and you're like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty damn good. But then when you see how he actually plays it, you're like, oh my god, I didn't realize he was... like, I thought he was like hammer-ons, and no, he's picking all that. Jesus Christ, man. Holy crap. So the guy got that good at doing that. Respect, you know? Like, Jesus. I appreciate that. And was I ever in a band? No, not really. I mean, I like to say I was in a band. I mean, like that would be no, it wouldn't be true. I had some projects with people. We'll call it that. I had some guitarists, some singers. We once almost had a full band. We had a guitar and a vocalist and me. And we jammed for a while. But it just... The guitarist was better than both of us at the time. He needed to move on. That actually happened several times. There's a... I remember the older woman, too. We were like, oh my god, she's older. We're like freaking out. We're like, oh my god. And so, you know, like that was cool. You know, like obviously having a girl guitarist and she's older, that was so cool. I mean, not older like that, but she was older than us. So that was cool, obviously. Like, she was always fun to jam with and really easy to get along with. Well, it was always just fun to jam with people. I used to jam with a lot of different people. I mean, aside from the couple of groups, I jammed with many people. I would always have people, because this was here, and I always had a guitar and an amp. I mean, people would always just, you know, they would want to bring their guitar or something. And again, I had the amp, so like it wasn't a big of a deal. They would just plug it in. I saw a video of Wild with the new Pantera. He's no dime, but he rocks. That's fair. I personally like Zach better than him as a guitarist, but that's just my preference. If you want to watch how just truly impressive he is, and like technical he can get, and how like again there's some really melodic good stuff he's put out, good solos and all that. But if you want to hear how technical and how good he gets, he did a solo over an Andy James track. That's what it's called. It says Zach Wilde rips new solo over Andy James track. Type that onto YouTube. Watch that solo, the solo. I think there's another thing he did on there. Watch the solo. I think that'll blow you away. That'll surprise you. I don't think people realize. Like again, while Dime did play like that, it was just different. Like it was his own way for sure. They're both very good in their own ways. And Dime I'm not saying that he wasn't extraordinarily good, but you cannot. Zach Wilde is another beast entirely, and he gets very underestimated because there are other legends out there, truthfully, in their own right. I know it's crazy to say it, but he's actually, in my opinion, beyond that. Because Zach, regardless of how absolutely outstanding he's always been, regardless of what he was doing, Black Label Society, and his own stuff over the years, and anybody else that called him up and wanted him to join, I think he played with the Almonds or something. The point is that he was always willing at the drop of a hat to just be there for Ozzy whenever. It didn't. You know what I mean? He wouldn't even have to ask. It's, he'd just be there. And, that's the sort of thing where it's the sort of thing where, just the no bullshit guy that's not gonna worry about any, hardships, drama. He just moves forward and doesn't pay attention to that. That's awesome, and so, for me, it's more about watching a guy that's actually that humble put his soul into what he's playing. So while he is that legendary still, and this guy, literally, he's got a guitar in every room. Whenever he's off stage, he's playing guitar. You see him sitting around on the side. Everybody else is hanging out. Even Dime, a lot of the time, is just sitting there hanging out. And Zach has a guitar in his hand. The point is, this guy actually doesn't stop playing, even off stage. I swear to God, the guy wakes up, he probably grabs his guitar and starts running scales sometimes. It's actually what he does. He'll sit there and watch a sports game and run scales. He'll grab his guitar and just play it while he's watching the TV. He literally, I swear to God, non-stop. And so you cannot appreciate, in addition to everything I just said, the humble, the legendary status, and then, obviously the legendary status, even just being with Oz, but Black Label Society, what he was able to do, and again, the point is, now, it's sort of almost like if you've paid attention to him through the years, he plays more than anybody else. He puts more hours in than literally anyone. So, yes, absolutely, I agree with your take and bias to liking Dime, and he's the original because he's Pantera, obviously. But I just with all that being said, I really have a hard time putting anyone else, because just knowing how much that man, how many hours, sheer hours he has put in to playing guitar. And in addition to that, he's been playing piano even longer. So if you know anything about piano, guitar translates to piano. A guitar neck is very similar to piano. So, writes a lot of stuff on there and translates it. So it just, man, I just... And there really isn't... Steve Vai has almost done it at times with me. But there's really nobody other than Zach that can write a song, and then the song makes me move, sure, but it's more about the solo. Then the solo happens, and I actually tear up a little bit hearing him put himself in the solo, and I'm like, okay, So when I was first listening to Lost Prayer, I could just tell that was very personal. Yeah, he liked that too. You could tell. Vi. Yeah, Teeth of the Hydra. Have you heard Teeth of the Hydra? That's the new one. He made a whole guitar for it. And the guitar literally has a bass guitar neck and everything too. It's a noisemaker. It's I think it has 3 guitar necks, right? And it's a noisemaker all at the same time, right? Steve Vai, Teeth of the Hydra. Look it up. It's phenomenal. It is so fucking cool. I blew me away. And it's like very video game inspired. Very like I got so many like Final Fantasy vibes. Listen to that. Oh, there's a definitive, the bass line, the definitive nod. No, it's custom. I don't know I don't know who made the neck. Just look up Steve Vai Teeth of the Hydra, and it's a custom guitar just for that song. I swear to God. He wears it in the song, but in the concert he has it on a tripod because he can't even hold it, it's so heavy. But yeah, Steve Vai. Always loved him. Just a phenomenal player. So yeah, he can move me with his playing for sure. He's the one. He's another one where you just want to close your eyes, you know. There you go. There you go. Isn't that awesome? I love that, like, he gives, like, there's a part where, it's almost like he gives a little wink. He does the noise-making part and he gives a little wink. The whole thing is just like, okay, dude, you came out and you were the coolest dude on the planet. Okay. I see what you did there. Yeah, I see what you did there. You came out as the coolest fucking dude on the planet. Okay. Alright, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Steve Vai is the coolest dude on the planet. Okay, that's fine. Like, he just basically is. He has the coolest hair. He just wears a bandana, custom guitar, just shreds on it, but like it's like water. You don't even like, he just dances those notes like it's nothing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. He's another one. He's another one that puts himself into that, for sure. Yeah, there's a part in Teeth of the Hydra where he like tickles the bottom of it. Right? Isn't that Teeth of the Hydra? You'll have to watch. Tell me if it's in there. Is it in that one? I know he does that. It's funny. Oh, no. It's Highly Strung. I'm sorry, Highly Strung. Watch that one. I'm sorry. There's one called, I think it's called Highly Strung, right? Isn't that what it's called? He did a song with Orianthi. Orianthi is a phenomenal guitarist, too. They did a song, a duet together, guitar solo duet. Fucking phenomenal. I couldn't believe it. He does it in that, sorry. He, like, tickles the bottom of it. It's funny. Brilliant. Oh, I fucking love it. And Orianthi is brilliant, too. She's amazing. She can play an Eddie Van Halen solo like it's nothing. So she is amazing. Yeah, she can play anything she wants. Really good. I like her. Nita Strauss is really good too. Orianthi, yeah, she did that song "According to You." That's the one I liked. "According to You." She had scaling and everything. It was cool. According to you. Yeah, it was cool. I'm gonna get going. But yeah, I mean, she did a song with David Draymond. She's done a song with many people recently. Actually, I was going to mention one, but there's been several. So it's better to like just instead of forgetting some, just Dave Draymond was one of them though, and that was "Dead Inside." She did that song "Dead Inside." We're dead inside, countless nights. That one. So that I mean, again, really good, and the rest of her stuff is so good. I love her solo stuff, and she has a great drummer. He is damn good. Love her videos. You'll see a video and she'll just be on fire and she's just shredding. It's awesome. So anyway. Yeah, Lita Ford's awesome, for sure. But Nita Strauss, definitely. Really, really good. She's played for Alice Cooper all these years. So, if Alice wanted her, and she's been phenomenal. She's been phenomenal. She just wanted to do a little solo for a little while, but she's with Alice Cooper again. As far as I know, she's back with Alice Cooper again. So that's cool, right? Double whammy. Alice Cooper and Nita Strauss. I mean, Alice Cooper, legend. Gotta love him. Frankenstein was great. My introduction to him was Wayne's World for sure. Didn't even know him before Wayne's World. So that's probably why I even know about that song, but but I no, I mean like Alice Cooper's cool. School's Out, obviously. Oh, I don't know. Not sure. I'm gonna get going though. I gotta get going. Lots of really good drummers out there though. And you'd be surprised some ladies are really good. I mean there's some on YouTube that are really good. They're surprisingly good. Okay. Yep. Good night. See you guys later. Thanks for watching.